To start working from the bottom up, the worst category here, and I'm looking at my number one no. It's a version of the row. It's the one-arm dumbbell row.
My inguinal canal. I think I have a hernia now. Help. Athlean X has a lot of videos on his page, and some of them are very good. And other ones like this, I think, can be more harmful than helpful. And let's talk about his list of, in this case, part one of this review, his most dangerous back exercises that you shouldn't be doing. So the first thing you have to understand is the criteria he talks about, which is this. He ranks them on the ability to progressively overload them, which is to increase the challenge maybe in weight or repetitions over time, overloading over time, and you are gaining strength over time. The second criteria he has is that it leads to more hypertrophy gains. Progressive overload is part of that, strength training is part of that. And the third thing that he has is that it needs to be a safe exercise. It needs to not be putting you in danger. And apparently, these are the top two most dangerous, because the first two exercises that he does not recommend, it is based on the premise of they are dangerous for you to do. Let's dive in. So the first exercise is a single arm dumbbell row with the knee supported. Let's hear what he has to say about it.
You see, I don't dislike the unilateral aspect of the exercise. That's not it. But when you put one knee up on the bench, as you do, this is actually introducing a stress to the groin that I've talked about in many videos before that I'm just not comfortable with. Literally, as I've given myself 2 hernias from the exercise. You put an asymmetrical strain on the inguinal canal.
My inguinal canal.
Which is oftentimes a weak spot for men as it is, which can oftentimes lead to the hernias that we don't want. The big thing about it though is we have better options that don't require us to have one knee up on the bench. We'll get back to that in a second, but for now, the one-arm row is an absolute no for me, putting it number 1 on my list of the worst back exercises.
So as you can see, you supposedly should not be doing a single arm dumbbell row because of the danger to the inguinal canal on the inside of the groin, and that he has personally gotten 2 hernias from this lift, which just in general I find a little bit harder to believe.
I'm skeptical.
Obviously, right, like I am not a medical professional, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physical therapist, I'm just someone that is extremely passionate about learning about the body and experimenting myself with how I move, and I've been working in the fitness industry for 10 years, and a lot of times when people say this is the singular thing that caused my problem, it's easy to explain to the community that way, but a lot of times there's usually behind the scenes stuff, right? Like if he had 2 hernias, was it really just the dumbbell row? Was it because he was maybe not using his hips, his torso, or his abdomen correctly? Did he maybe have restrictions through the abdomen that he was unaware of that led to it? Did he strain parts of his abdomen or groin in the past that put him at risk that then became a problem doing the dumbbell row and giving himself a hernia? So to say, a dumbbell row, I did it, it caused me hernia, I find that hard to believe. So before I go any further about this dumbbell row, and then the next exercise that was deemed 2 of the most dangerous exercises that we shouldn't be doing for our back, just know that you can follow my playlist here that has the way that I teach multiple exercises to help you control the range of motion that you're doing. Again, my big thought is it's important to focus on what you feel as you move and the tension that you feel as you're moving and the experience as you go through it. So go ahead and subscribe to that playlist. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to subscribe below. I'm going to be doing as many reviews of different approaches to fitness as I can, as someone that's worked in the fitness industry for a decade and has spent tons of time trying out old and new models of fitness. I'm here to kind of demystify everything, sift through the potential BS, and deliver a clear message to you guys so that way you know how to solve the problem, the pain you might be experiencing, or how to improve your performance. So go ahead and subscribe below. All right, getting back into it again, the single arm dumbbell row with the knee on it. The point is that it's supposed to be dangerous because of the potential stressor to the groin. And it's just something that I disagree with. Each person is different, so maybe certain people are more at risk than others, but the single arm dumbbell row is still going to be something I believe that's fine when you're trying to develop the strength of maybe the upper back, the lat, and the rear delt, depending on how you're performing that single arm dumbbell row. And then this first part series, know that I'm gonna address here the worst thing for your back. Then he progresses to talk about some of the better and best exercises for your back, and we'll review those as well, and I'll have the link at the end of the video so you guys can watch and learn not only what are my thoughts as a fitness professional on the supposed 2 worst exercises for your back, to up to what are my opinions on the best exercises for your back. And if there's anything missed, what should you actually be doing to develop strength, control, and avoid injury for things like developing the backside of the body? So the behind the neck lat pull down.
Exercises. All right, so now making our way up through the worst exercises for your back, we have to look next to the lat pull down. But no, not any version of the lat pull down, but the behind the neck version of the lat pull down, because where you pull to makes all the difference in the world. You see, this variation takes those elbows out of the scapular plane, the natural plane they prefer to move in, angled about 45 degrees forward, and flares them far too much out to the side. And what that does is it forces the shoulder into a lot of internal rotation. While those arms are up overhead, internal rotation with elevation can lead to impingement problems. Guys, do me a favor and put that bar in front of the body and put this exercise at the top of your list of ones to skip with the big red X.
It's mentioned again that safety is the main concern here, that the scapulas are internally rotating, which is just a fancy way of saying that they're rotating in and forward, right? Like the winging of the shoulder blade is happening. It's going to position that it's not its favorite spot to move in optimally when the arms are overhead, as he mentioned, or more behind the head. And this one can for sure cause problems for a lot of people. I don't disagree with that. Most people don't have a great control of their shoulder range of motion. A lot of us, because we sit or we drive, we sit in this forward head, rounded shoulder position. And the problem with that is, yes, if I try and reach behind me to do a lat pull down, I'm probably gonna have some pain in there, and I'm probably not gonna be able to move super well, and I am likely more at risk to get an impingement in my shoulder doing that exercise. So although I do agree with him in that sense that people may more commonly have issues with this exercise, it's still something that, again, blanket statement, it's not gonna be dangerous for everybody, and for some people it might be a wonderful way of firing. But for a big general blanket statement, yes, I agree. Probably more people than not are gonna have issues with this, especially if they're just starting in on their fitness journey. So he gave two specific exercises. Again, that single arm dumbbell row with the knee supported and the behind the neck lat pull down, as far as these are two exercises that are dangerous and that you should not be doing for developing progressive overload for your back, strength for your back, hypertrophy for your back. And I disagreed with the dumbbell row, and I only partially agreed for the behind the neck lat pull down. But the main problem that I have with all of this is it was very black and white and specifically said this is good or this is bad. And although that's an easy way to talk to the fitness community that we're trying to educate, life is always a little bit more gray and isn't black and white. I would encourage you to think of, when you do exercises, what do you feel while you move?
So how's it feel?
Too often we attach ourselves to the goal of, I want hypertrophy, I want strength, this is the exercise to do it, this is not the exercise to do it. And although that is beneficial, a additional, maybe supplementary goal that I think that you should have is, what do you feel while you move? This is the whole point of feel your damn muscles. What do you notice while you're moving? Let's go to the dumbbell row for an example. When someone's doing a dumbbell row, and let's say they are experiencing that inguinal area pain through the groin, I just don't want to go, this exercise is dangerous, we're done. Instead, I would say, okay, well, what do you feel? And then I would try and change the position. What happens if we tuck your pelvis? What happens if we tilt your pelvis? What happens if we shift left and right, or focus on rotating the spine, or rotating the torso more than just doing the row? The point would be, when we change certain things, how you grip, what equipment you use, the position your body's in, does it change it? What if we change it and all of a sudden there's no discomfort and you feel so much tension in a good way in your upper back and in your lat that it's gonna be a great exercise for progressive overload and building hypertrophy in your back? Similar to behind the neck lat pull down. What if we change the grip? What if we move it wider, closer, or use a fat grip on the bar, and then all of a sudden there's no discomfort and no problem and no pain or impingement in the shoulder? So as you can see, exercises can be done in a way where, without getting too out there, we can make it gray but still have a clear idea of how we want to progress forward for our goal. So I hope you enjoyed this review of my opinions on Athlean X's thoughts on the two exercises you should not be doing to develop your back strength. As promised, here's the link for the video for my review of the two exercises that he says are the best for that progressive overload, strength building, and hypertrophy, and are safe for your back. You can click the link now to go ahead and watch that. And please don't forget to subscribe. If there's a question that you have about something in the fitness community, whether it's from Athlean X or something more out there like WEC Method, GOTA, and StrongFit, go ahead and comment below. Send me the link. I'll gladly review it for you guys. Again, I'm here to test things in the fitness community and try and describe them in a simple way, because too often than not, people are trying to sell you some BS, and at the end of the day, what helps us be consistent, what's fun, and what can help us improve our lifestyle is what matters most. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go ahead and comment any questions that you have below, and please don't forget to subscribe.